No more 140-minute podcasts. SFA wants their media hard and fast. So I'm going to give it to you. For my first quick and dirty, I decided to pull on a rubber over this 245 kilos of love muscle. Just to play it safe. So welcome, Gumbies Captain, Barrybran.
Good evening, Turbo.
Evening, Barry. Are you ready?
Ready to roll. Let's do it.
All right. So do you like how I've oiled myself up?
How you've oiled yourself up?
Yeah, do you want to touch?
Didn't you just put a rubber on?
Yeah, but I'm using lube as well.
Oh, right. Well, that's probably a relief, actually. I'm not...
All right, I can see what we've got to do here. We're going to have a bit of foreplay before we get into the hard stuff. All right, Baz. I'm a lover. I know how to do this.
Okay.
So, let's talk about a few things then before we get into the down and dirty. So, I'm thinking, let's talk Hall of Fame.
Right.
Filthy says we shouldn't be talking games played. Pants is calling for 200 to 250 games minimum. What do you think should be the limit?
I thought 200 was a decent suggestion at first, but somebody put forward that 150 games is about 8 to 9 seasons, and when you look at that, that's 4.5 years on the board. That's a decent length of time. So you've either made a contribution in that time or you haven't.
Yeah, but the guts of it is it about games, like a sim-related thing? I mean, we've got players, you've got players who get game time but aren't actually posting.
Yeah.
So, is it a value?
I suppose it's a sign of some sort of longevity. You take a look at somebody like Cadaver, for example. Came out all guns blazing in season 1, dropped off the scene, and now he's sort of just started to come back. So he's putting up a great contribution, but you don't know whether you're going to get sort of great contributions through 150 games like Josh Woodenspoon, or you've got somebody on my team that everybody keeps slagging is Peters, who's up over 350 games now. So it counts for something, but it shouldn't be the defining point, and I don't think anybody's taking it as the defining point. It's an all-round contribution.
Okay. What about, do you support the fumble it's time movement?
Time for what?
Time to be in the Hall of Fame.
I don't really know enough about that sort of stuff, I reckon. I know I'm into my 4th season. Yeah, I'm a captain. Yeah, I sort of get involved and get my hands dirty with things behind the scenes, but I'm not going to pretend to know what everybody has done around the place. Fumbler is one of those people. Seen him about the place, haven't had too much to do with him compared to, say, the likes of yourself and other Furies teammates and whatnot. So, yeah, I'll leave that up to other people.
Bit soft, but I'll let you go with that. Fumbler's a legend. Okay, Noobs stated he boggles at how the Hall of Fame gets thrown around to posters who haven't been relevant in many seasons and have active interest in keeping people out. Cloud has stated publicly thinks the public nominations are unnecessary because the general public, and that's who's listening to this right now, are too stupid to take the Hall of Fame seriously. As part of the public, are you stupid?
I think that's a common perception recently. There's been some funny topics come up. I think there is... I understand where KP's coming from. By and large, most people that are about the place are generally on the newer side. And those people that have been around forever and a day probably aren't around as often, I would have thought.
All right, Baz, I'm sensing Hall of Fame's a little bit above your grade. You haven't got enough experience, so we're going to move on because this isn't the site where we all talk crap all day. So let's move. I want to talk bears with you. Now, you were brought in as a bear, weren't you?
I was.
Right, so let's talk bears then. Current state. Should they be left to die? Stuffed and put in a display case? I mean, I've watched Tessie put out a thread, Las Vegas Bears expression, and he's looking at an interest for a captain. Now, Josh Woodenspoon's out. MWPP's out. Arnie's just burned his account. The Bears are falling. Now, Tessie has put Metal Crusher in there, but is this going to steady the Bears' implosion, or is it going to hasten it? What are your thoughts, Baz?
It could go either way.
Do not sit on the fence on this, Baz.
No, it could go either way. I reckon the expression of interest is a great idea because people will naturally laugh at the Bears, but they might get some serious PMs and wind up with somebody who actually wants to do it. Tessie has put his hand up in the absence of somebody else that wants to do it, and he's done a reasonable job considering, but it wasn't something that he really wanted to do. So he's not been afraid to say, yep, I'd like some help, does somebody actually want to do it? So if it goes like that and they get a genuine person approach them, it could go really well.
Seriously, Baz, seriously. You're telling me that a captain of a team, a professional quiddy team, puts an advert out saying, please, is there anyone wants to be captain of this team, is the way to go about it professionally? Like, surely that's something that's left to PMs and in the background. You actually publicly pull your pants down and expose your ass?
Well, it's not the way I would go about it. But by the same token, I think they realise where they're at, and that they don't really have anybody that's sort of knocking on the door saying, all right, let me do it. So they're asking for help.
So why didn't you go back?
When I jumped to the Gumbies, I had a couple of people say that it was going to take 3 to 4 seasons to build a club up and turn things around, and we're only 2 seasons in at the moment. So yeah, part of me feels for the Bears, but part of me says that the job's not done at the Gumbies yet.
Seriously?
I would be very surprised if anybody's said, right, Gumbies are in a great spot, it's time for Baz to move on.
Well, I'll give you a little story. This is a little bit of Turbo history. When I was a little Turbo, I had a Gumby. And this is a true story. I had a little Gumby. And I was outside playing and I was near some trees and there was a bird sitting in a tree making a noise at me and it pissed me off. So what I did was I pelted my Gumby at that bird and it got stuck. It was a palm tree and it got stuck in the fronds. And I stood there and I would have been, I reckon I would have been around 5 or 6 at the time. And I sat there and realised the Gumby wasn't coming back on the ground. It was one of my favourite toys. And I stood there for a while realising that I was powerless and there's nothing I could do. I couldn't change the course of that Gumby. It was stuck in that tree. So I had to make a decision. Do I stand there staring at the at the tree like an idiot and just wait, or do I walk away and start something else? So I walked away. So I'm looking at you, Baz, and I'm thinking, are you like that little Turbo staring at the Gumby stuck in the tree?
No, we're not stuck in the tree.
You sure?
I'm sure.
All right, I'll leave it at that because I'm going to burn you soon. So, here we go. Barrybran is now strapped into the hot seat and I'm going to turn the blowtorch up. I ask questions. You answer. Baz, have you been prepped about any of the questions I'm about to go through?
I have not.
Have you signed the form from Barely Legal, removing me from any responsibility from what happens going forward?
I'm going to have to check my junk folder, mate.
It's all right. I'll sign it for you. Are you ready for me to turn up the heat?
Let's do it. Getting chilly here.
Time starts now. If you could have any 3 players from the SFA to join the Gumbies, who would they be and why?
Any 3 players. I'd like to bring Antonio Bluevane across. I think he is a little bit wasted with the Bombers at the moment. I think he would get along with these quite nicely. I would love to have yourself along as well for a bit of comic relief. I like what you bring to the league, mate. Third player. I'd love to say Tony Lynn, but that's 2 Bombers and I don't really want to leave them in a rabble, do I?
I don't know, 2 Bombers and a Fury, that couldn't not but help the Gumbies.
It would help the Gumbies, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely. Hey, we're not looking after the SFA, we're looking after the Gumbies here. Yeah. So Tony Lynn, Antonio Bluevane and myself, great choices there, Baz.
Yeah, let's bring Tones across too.
Okay.
2 Tones and a Turbo.
Righto. Why is it Rucks are the most charismatic and sexy players in the SFA?
I'm not sure they are, mate.
That's not the right answer, Baz. We are. Okay. People have noticed a lot of sexual tension between you and Wayne's World. What's that about?
Sexual tension is probably not the description.
Yeah, I'm feeling it already. Come on, what's going on between you and Wayne's World?
Well, mate, we both entered the league in season 26. We both hit the ground running posting-wise. I'd like to think that I've sort of engaged with my teammates and opposition evenly and with a bit of wit and humour, and unfortunately Wayno's brought the half-wit, so, and much humour, so 4 seasons later not much has changed.
Okay then, we'll just leave that as you still need to have sex together. Okay, do you share or wax your rubber ball bag?
No, mate, too much hair to do that.
Oh, you're natural.
Yeah, mate, all natural.
Righto. Okay, word out of the committee is you're a goody two-shoes bitch. What do you have to say about that?
Yep, true.
Quick answer, nice. True or false? The Gumbies are almost the shittiest non-club in the history of the SFA.
The shittiest non-club? Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I thought we were.
True or false is the answer. Give it to me. True or false?
I didn't hear the true or false bit. I'm going to go with false.
So you're the shittiest club. Okay, move on. If you could win one award in the SFA before retiring, what would it be?
Don't know.
Okay, you're not getting any awards. Move on.
No.
What flavour ice cream do you want to lick off me after this show?
There's a lot to choose from, mate. Let's go with bubblegum.
Oh, I like where you're going with that. Okay, worst mistake you've made in the SFA?
Worst mistake I've made? I don't know. Probably getting too involved and not just sort of kicking back and just going with the flow a bit more.
You're probably not the first to do that either. Yeah. Okay, did you have a part in driving Josh Woodenspoon out?
Surprisingly, no. Everything that I did was off my own back, off what was going on around me, and it just so happened that Josh imploded himself and I got dragged in because I was the next bear.
Have you got access to the gay porn he was posting? Just this is between you and me, not for the public.
Don't we all? Isn't it free?
Anyway, we'll move on. Funniest player you have played with?
Funniest player I have played with?
Yes.
Played with. So that's the catch there. I quite like what Material 92 brought. He's not the most active player these days, but as far as players that I've played with, he is probably the funniest one that I've played with.
Okay. If you could change one thing about the SFA, what would it be?
Yeah.
First thought's the best thought, buddy. Put it out there.
First thought's the best thought. Fair enough. Yeah, there's been this sort of underlying attitude that some people don't belong in the league and they're better off out. Whilst there is an element of truth to that, I have always approached the league as if everyone has a right to participate, everyone has a right to enjoy themselves, and that doesn't give anyone a right to be a dickhead. Get along with who you get along with. If you don't get along with somebody, just talk to the people you do get along with.
Do you like synthetic flavoured lube or plain Vaseline?
Oh, let's go the flavoured stuff.
Yeah. What's your favourite flavour?
Spearmint.
Oh, okay. I'm a strawberry man, but anyway. Have the Bombers ever tried to recruit you?
Bombers? No.
If you were sent to Banhammer Prison and had the choice of sharing a cell with either me or Kofi, which would you choose and why?
Probably Kofi. I think the gifts would hurt less than 245 kilos of love muscle, to be honest. It would be either way. It's just, if we're talking about pain here.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking, yeah, I get it. Wise choice. Has Heyday Lizards got legs?
You know what? I thought no, but I'm starting to think yes.
Talking about it on this show, there's got to be something happening in that space.
I don't know. Hado does keep his cards close to his chest. I mean, after all, he was my co-captain. I kind of am of the belief that he's helping me out rather than sort of looking after himself. But league's picked up a bit this season, and if we can sort of get some people come on board in this quieter time, then hey, there might be room for a couple of extra teams, and why not?
Do you support all SFA bench professionals?
When it first came up, no, but I think Headless has a solid case this season.
Excellent, because I'm the same. I actually backing the all bench player, and someone who goes through the whole season on the bench as a start-off player deserves to be on there. Okay, yep.
Yeah, I think Headless's hit piece is probably the piece of ammunition he needs, because the posting's one thing, but if he can go to the committee at the end of the season with his little votes and he's come out on top of all the interchange players, then that's going to carry a fair bit of weight, I reckon.
So basically we need to stop putting all the midfielders into that bloody team, because you've seen them. They're monopolising the team. Would you agree with that?
When I first approached it, my first time around, yes. By the end of the conversation last All-FA, it became apparent why we have so many midfielders, and that's largely because the most active people play in the midfield. This is what it is, really.
So do you think it's a travesty that Tiger Turbulence has never been all SFA?
Is that true?
That is true.
You have to lift your game, mate.
I can't lift it any further. Yes, but I'm all right with that. Bloody those mid-quunts. So does this G-string make my ass look big?
No, I thought anything made your ass look big. 45.
Time is up. Thanks, Barrybran.
That's all right, mate.
I've got one question to ask you.
Yes.
Who would you like to see in this hot seat next?
My future Gumbies teammate, Tony Lynn, 15.
You heard it. Tony Lynn, 15. Have you got the courage to sit in the hot seat and prove yourself? This is Tiger Turbulence, making it hot in the SFA.